Hello, everyone, and I am back with a week 3 review for college football. This week was packed, and there were a lot of good games to talk about. Now, I didn't make a review video for week 2 because there just weren't many great games, and also I was like tailgating and stuff, and I was just kind of busy. But I will try to be as consistent as possible. I might not do every week because obviously there are going to be some games or some weeks that are better than others in terms of games and stuff like that. But let's just jump into it. Starting off with our 11 a.m. games, we have Clemson versus Georgia Tech, and this pretty much confirms to me that Clemson is not a playoff team. I mean, I think they're a good team, and they have one of the best defenses in the country, but oh my gosh. I mean, Cade Klubnik just, he's looking like Jalen Milroe did. I mean, well, I'm going to start comparing him to Jalen Milroe, Carson Beck, and Quinn Ewers in 2024. All three of those guys fell off, and it looks like Cade Klubnik is too, because, oh my gosh, I mean, Clemson's offense just can't get anything done. It's kind of ridiculous. Now, I think Georgia Tech is a good team, and, they've competed with good teams before like Georgia, but still, like, it's an unranked Georgia Tech team. You're Clemson. You're in the top, I'm pretty sure that, they're like 12 or something like that? Yeah. So, like, they are the favorite, and you should win. Like, Clemson should have won this game. Now, do I think that Georgia Tech could have won the game? Absolutely, and they did. Like, I wasn't surprised, but, I mean, like, I expected a lot more out of Clemson, I guess, and they just did not, deliver. Now, I didn't watch a lot of this game. I, peeked at it every now and then because I was watching, the Auburn game and stuff because, I'm an Auburn fan. But, I mean, just based on the box score and, what, the parts I watched, I mean, Cade Klubnik just isn't – he's just not very good. Clemson's offense not good. Now, again, the defense is great. They kind of let up on that last drive because they Haynes King just found some, running room and they let him kind of slip away. But still, Clemson, disappointment. I highly doubt they will – make it to the playoffs this year. If they do, I mean, their offense is just going to have to do so much better. Moving on to Auburn versus South Alabama. Again, I'm not really going to talk about this game for too long because, I mean, we were expected to win this game. But I am kind of concerned because low-key South Alabama was kind of carving up our defense at times. Not all the time, but I mean, I'm pretty sure they had almost as many yards as offense as we did. And, of course, our run defense, they deny, they're always going to be, I think they're always going to be one of the better, running defenses in the country. But our secondary got kind of cooked because I know another team that we're going to have to play and that I'll get to later that plays kind of like they did. On offense, at least, and it kind of concerns me because, I mean, again, for the most part, our defense did fine, but there are just times where South Alabama's low-key carving us up, and I don't know. And it's not like this is the first time this happened because our secondary did not play very good against Baylor. Now, granted, I think Baylor does have a top, maybe 15 offense, but still, it's just going to be really hard to beat teams in the future when, having offenses that can really kind of attack our secondary that don't have to rely on the run. So, yeah, I'm just kind of concerned. Offense, I guess they did fine. Cam Coleman is a freak of an athlete. That catch he made was ridiculous. Eric Singleton, Perry Thompson, all those guys did just fine. We're always going to be one of the best rushing teams. I mean, I'm not worried about our run game at all. But yeah, overall, I mean, that's really all I had to say about that game. But we definitely need to improve for the secondary. Moving on, we have Alabama versus Wisconsin, and I'm really only going to talk about this game for a minute. Just a complete blowout. I mean, now, granted, Wisconsin, they're not very great, and Alabama beat the crap out of them last year too. And, Alabama wasn't any good last year either. So, this might not mean much, even though they played back-to-back cupcakes. I still think we definitely should not write off this Alabama team because they still have, and this is going to sound crazy, but I do think they have the potential to be the best team in the country. They still have it, even though they don't show it right now. I mean, they have shown glimpses of it in those past 2 games. Even though they're cupcakes, they still have the potential to be the best team in the country. Their talent, they have an absurd amount of talent from every single position on the field. So they're still like they can absolutely beat anyone. It just depends on how hard they want to play. And I think when they play their hardest and when they actually try and the coaches are doing what they're supposed to be doing, they can be the best team in the country. But we haven't seen that yet. But we've got glimpses of it. And this might sound crazy, but I low-key don't think it does. Ty Simpson is looking like a top 5 quarterback in the nation. And again, even though they were playing cupcakes, he only had 3 or 4 incompletions today. And then last week against ULM, he didn't even have an incompletion. And he broke a bunch of records for Alabama or something. Have genuinely that is an insane stat line, even for a quarterback, even for a cupcake. I mean, that's kind of crazy. Also, Ryan Williams kind of popped off. Haven't really seen him do that since Georgia of last year, which I think was also the 3rd game. So maybe every 3rd game, Ryan Williams ends up doing pretty good. But still, though, yeah, Ryan Williams, honestly, he has not been very good the past, besides this game and, the Georgia game, really has been very underwhelming. Not the most physical player, just, and that's partially because Jalen Miller last year wasn't a great quarterback. No, he was actually below average. Still, though, Jeremy Bernard is 5 times better in my opinion. But still, this Alabama offense, when Ty Simpson gets going, he's unreal. Ty Simpson looks unreal at times. And, yeah. So, Alabama, I don't think we should write them off yet. But, yeah, that's really all I got to say. This is just more about Ty Simpson than it was Alabama. Here we have probably my favorite game of the day, Georgia versus Tennessee. This was an amazing game from start to finish. Unreal quarterback performance from both teams. Joey Aguilar and Gunnar Stockton both played incredible. They both the quarterback play was amazing. Defenses now. You see a high-scoring game and you think the defenses didn't really play too well. I mean, that's partially true, but also, especially Georgia after the first quarter and, 3rd quarter, they really kind of locked in. But anyway, starting from the first quarter, I thought we were going to see a repeat of what Alabama did to Georgia in 2024. Just Georgia literally could not stop Alabama in, the first half, last year. And I thought it was going to be the same way this year. I mean, Tennessee scored so easily. I mean, Joey Aguilar, I've never seen an offense carve up a Kirby Smart led Georgia defense that bad since Alabama last year and then Ohio State in the quarterfinals. That was insane. But of course they score, and Georgia immediately does. They score back almost immediately. Great drive, but then Tennessee scores twice, instantaneously. I mean, Georgia's defense literally could not do anything. It was crazy. Now they did. They kind of clawed back towards the end of the second quarter. They're only down by 4. They got 17 on the board. And, so it was still a manageable game. And third quarter was when I thought Georgia was about to really take over again. I mean, Tennessee's offense was getting absolutely shut down in the 3rd quarter. Georgia was starting to score more. Or they did score, and they were, really locking down Tennessee. But Tennessee scores again. There's a lot of back and forth scoring. And then, I am oversimplifying, but really I'm just trying to get to the end of the game, which was ridiculous. It is mind-blowing. I can't believe that Tennessee kicker missed that. I mean, if he makes that kick, the game is over. There's 5 seconds left on the clock when he had the kick. The game was over if he made I thought, Tennessee, they got some big run plays off. Georgia's defense was kind of getting carved up again, and they were they were at the 20-yard line. Oh my gosh. I mean, if I was a Tennessee fan, like, and my parents were watching that, like my mom, and my sister, where they felt like really bad for the kicker, and I don't blame. I mean, that kicker he is going to get eaten up by that Tennessee fan base. But yeah, Georgia, like, you cannot make that mistake against Georgia. Georgia is absolutely going to capitalize, and I already told them, like, all right, well, Georgia's winning the game now, because I didn't think Tennessee was going to stop them, because Georgia's offense at that point, they had already picked up. Like, ever since the first half, like, they had been on cruise, or at least on the offensive side of the ball. They're going overtime. The dude makes the kick, but it doesn't really mean anything because Georgia just almost immediately scores, and the game ended. So, Georgia, I mean, they're always going to be a great team as long as Kirby Smart's there. They're always one of the most resilient teams that I've seen in recent years. Dating back to last year against Alabama, Georgia Tech, Notre Dame, Florida, like in all these games that they're down. And I'm pretty sure they were down against Tennessee. They've always been down in so many games. And even though they didn't win all of those games, like a lot of them they did, and they really do show so much resiliency. It's actually just incredible how much resiliency they have. And they showed it again. Josh Heupel cannot beat Georgia. I think Kirby Smart owns him, honestly. Like, not even trying to be toxic, but he just does. I mean, Josh Heupel cannot beat Kirby Smart. But it just proves I think Kirby Smart is the best head coach in college football right now. I have so much respect for him because he's like a mini Nick Saban in a way. So, Georgia, even though, we're rivals because I'm an Auburn fan, still a lot of respect for that program. But anyway, amazing game, probably my favorite game of the night. And Georgia will most likely be going to the playoffs this year. Now, this game and the next game I'm going to talk about, I'm going to go over real quick. I'm honestly still in shock. I mean, you look at this score, Vanderbilt beating number 11 South Carolina at home 31-7. I don't know what kind of end times we're living in right now, but that is just disgusting. I don't like Vanderbilt, I hate the way they play. And I don't think they really deserve to win as many games as they should. But South Carolina, I don't think, honestly, I'm starting to think they're really not very good this year. Now, maybe Vanderbilt's just like one of the best teams in the country, but I highly doubt that because South Carolina's offense has been struggling all year. They struggled against Virginia Tech, and they struggled against like South Carolina State or whatever it was, whoever they played in week 2. Lenore Sellers, a lot of people saying he should be a Heisman candidate, kind of struggled. I am just so shocked. Either Vanderbilt has one of the best defenses in the country, or South Carolina's offense just is not very good. And I'm starting to think it's the offense because, I don't know, they just haven't been doing good against, any, and they just haven't been doing good over the past 3 weeks at all. So, and I don't know why. They have a Heisman contender quarterback. It's just so weird. South Carolina, I picked South Carolina. I honestly thought South Carolina was going to beat the brakes off of Vanderbilt. I've heard people say that Vanderbilt might pull off the upset, but honestly, I thought people were crazy for picking Vanderbilt because I thought, and I had known Vanderbilt's a decent team, but I had thought South Carolina defense is too good. Lenore Sellers is going to bully whoever tries to tackle. I just thought they were too good and too physical, too talented for Vanderbilt. But this was by far, and it's not even close, the most shocking game of the night or the day. It's ridiculous. I think the way Vanderbilt plays pisses me off, and I don't like Diego Pavia, but it's shocking how bad South Carolina got beat. Unranked Vanderbilt beating number 11 South Carolina at home by over 20 points. Yeah. I already said I was going to go over this game kind of quick, but there's really nothing to say about this game. A lot of scoring. very little defense. Both these teams are about, I think Ole Miss is better, but they're about the same in terms of how good they are. Do I think Ole Miss is a top 25 team? Yeah, but they're nowhere near. And I mean, they don't even sniff last year's team. They're all right. Arkansas, they didn't look too bad outside the defense. Both quarterbacks played really good, I think. But yeah, both these teams' defense is just not great. I don't think, also because Ole Miss let up like 20 on Kentucky. Kentucky's decent, but that's really not the point. There's just not a lot about to say. This game was kind of sloppy. There was that one Arkansas player that got hurt really bad, and that was really scary. But other than that, yeah, that's all I got to say. Now we have LSU versus Florida. What a game this was. It was about how I expected it to go, except for I did think LSU was going to score a bit more, but this game was interesting because, Florida actually at first looked like they were about to get up by a good margin. I mean, there was that huge touchdown pass that DJ Lagway had that got called back. That was unfortunate, but but I did think Florida looked like their offense was kind of moving at times. Now, you see 10 on the board and you think, oh, LSU just shut them out. But that wasn't really the case. DJ Lagway went he had almost 50 passes and he went 33 for was it 47, 49, something like that. So he actually played pretty decent. Except for the part where he had 5 interceptions, which is horrible. But other than that, there were some times where he looked like he was really carving up LSU's defense, which I do think LSU has a top 5, maybe even top 3 defense. However, I say that, but the way Clemson's offense has been looking, I'm starting to think maybe that LSU, win wasn't as great as I thought it was. Now, I still think LSU should probably be ranked inside the top 5, but still, they're not looking as good as I thought they were after, week 1. But anyway, as for Florida, offense is atrocious. Defense is actually pretty good. Now, I have been very skeptical of LSU's offense because it seems like they've just done a complete 180 from the past few years because, the past few years, their defense has been garbage and their offense has been, ridiculous. But now it's like their defense is just, insane. And now their offense is kind of lacking. Their offense isn't bad. Garrett Nussmeier, there are times in this game and what he usually does, he'll completely take over a game. He's really good. He's probably a top 3 quarterback in the country. There's some great wide receivers on that LSU receiving core. Not a lot of rushing. And honestly, in any of these games, there were not a lot of rushing attempts, except for the Auburn one because that's, really one of the only great things we can do. But anyway, yeah, Florida, they're just, they have potential to be pretty good, but they're just not. And, Billy Napier, a lot of people think he should be booted out of Florida. And I really don't I think the reason Florida just isn't great, I don't know. Maybe it is his fault, but I've heard he's too soft and that the Florida players have kind of gotten undisciplined. There was that time he did spit on that USF player, which I actually didn't watch all that game, but anyway, I don't know. Florida, they're not going to make a bowl game. Their schedule was ridiculous. And, unless DJ Lagway, and that offense really turning around there. The defense is fine. I think the defense is actually pretty decent. But other than that, they're not going to win very many games at all this year. LSU, I think LSU, their defense is fine, but the offense definitely needs to work some things out because Garrett Nussmeier didn't really play that great. But I think it'll be fine. Here we have another absolutely ridiculous game in Texas A&M versus Notre Dame. This game at first looked like how I thought it was kind of going to go. I thought that Texas A&M, they just weren't as good a team as Notre Dame was. That's what I thought going in. And, Notre Dame got that punt block touchdown, which is, I'm like, yeah, this game isn't going to go very well. But even though Marcel Reed didn't have the best completion percentage, there are some moments where he just went off. Like, I'm talking about, like, he was carving up that Notre Dame defense left and right, a couple of drives. Now, I do think that, Texas A&M did struggle at times. Both these teams struggle. I think both of these teams aren't great teams, and I'm actually shocked that Notre Dame is in the top 10 after literally a week 1 loss. Like, if you're 0-1, you should not be in the top 10. But, maybe with the exception of Texas, because they literally played the national championship winner of last year. But besides that, Notre Dame, defense got carved up a good bit. Offense played pretty good at times. Both quarterbacks did pretty good, I'd say. And, but yeah, defense was like on and off. Like sometimes their defenses did really good. Sometimes they just completely did terrible. I don't know. But Marcel Reed has a great deep ball, I think. Like there were some plays where he threw a pinpoint accurate deep ball. Like there's a couple of those highlights. But, there were a bunch of mistakes in this game. Very, very sloppy mistakes. Like there was the first touchdown Texas A&M got. There's literally 2 guys on the receiver that has the ball, but they both just collide and they just slide off him. I don't know. But Texas A&M fought back, and I was actually so shocked they took the lead in the first half. They got up 28-24, which it was, I did not expect that whatsoever. Second half, not really a whole lot to say. Defense has played a lot better in the second half, but it really just came down to the last, or a very similar situation with Tennessee and Georgia. All Tennessee had to do was not Tennessee, all Notre Dame had to do was just make the extra point. They fumble the extra point, and they don't get the conversion after they, mess up. Texas A&M, they get huge chunk plays, and then they just throw it to their 6-7 tight end or whatever. So unreal win for Texas A&M. I think that I picked Notre Dame to win. I thought Notre Dame was just their defense was a lot better than Texas A&M's offense, and I thought Jeremiah Love was just going to run all over that Texas A&M defense. But maybe now again, I don't know if it's more so that that Notre Dame is worse because they did lose to Miami away, but it was kind of close. Or is it that Texas A&M is actually maybe pretty good because, Miami is in the top 5 and they just blew out USF. Now, I didn't watch that game because I don't really care about USF and Miami, but, I think Texas A&M is probably about the same level they were. I'd say they're probably a bit better than they were last year. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. Because Marcel Reed wasn't. He didn't start all of last year, I don't think, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure their starter got benched or something. I'm forgetting who it was though. But yeah, Marcel Reed, I think he has potential to be a Jalen Milroe 2.0. When he's on, he can really step up. But yeah, Texas A&M, I think they're always going to be a pretty, they've been a pretty decent team. Now, last, when was it? Under Jimbo Fisher, they were not good, but last year, they kind of picked it back up, even though they went 8-4, They were ranked inside the top 10 early on last year, but they kind of fell off. But still, I think Texas A&M is always going to be one of those teams that you still kind of have to watch out for, that they can still beat you. And Notre Dame got their revenge from last year, and yeah, I'm still probably going to have to see a bit more. When we play Texas A&M, maybe I'll get a better insight. I don't know who they play next week, but yeah. Basically, I think that Notre Dame is probably not going to make the Oh my, there's no way they make the playoffs this year. They lost to Miami and they lost to Notre Dame at home, proving they can't really beat a ranked team. Now, they did win some pretty good games last year, especially in the playoffs, but I don't know, dude. Notre Dame they got some issues. And I think Texas A&M is, they're usually, again, decent, but I don't know. I have to see more out of them. But anyway, yeah, that's all I got for tonight. And I'll try to see what week 4 is going to be like, and then I'll probably make a review on that if it's good. But yeah, I'll see y'all later. Bye.